During the winter of 2014, Ukraine found itself in the midst of the bloody Maidan Revolution, with the Ukrainian people fighting for freedom from a corrupt government. The need for God was clear, and the counseling center of CBN Emmanuil responded quickly to the growing crisis.
All of us had the same question: what would happen next in our country? What would happen to us? And no one can answer this question without God.
In the spring of 2014, military aggression began with the annexation of the Crimean Peninsula. With the annexation, many people were left displaced, and CBN Emmanuil partnered with others to help receive and resettle the families that had children. Despite the difficult situation in Ukraine, the premiere of the new Superbook took place in April at one of the most prestigious cinemas in Kiev. Hundreds of children gathered for the premiere, which was clearly a success.
We believe that we will see fruit from this, and in 10 or 15 years, we will meet people, grown-up children, who will say that their lives were changed because of Superbook.
The Superbook premiere toured throughout Ukraine in the spring of 2014, playing to an audience of over 28,000. As a result of the premieres, 190 Superbook clubs have begun in Ukraine, Russia, and other CIS countries. Despite the strained relations between Ukraine and Russia, Emmanuil was able to perform a Superbook Christmas concert in one of the most prestigious concert halls of Moscow. During the summer of 2014, the undeclared war broke out in eastern Ukraine. Risking their lives, thousands fled from occupied cities in Donetsk and Lugansk regions. As the flow of refugees increased with each passing day, CBN Emmanuil quickly became involved to provide assistance.
People have to leave their houses, their conveniences, and go anywhere they can be accepted. Our main concern is to see that the children are protected.
As a result of intense fighting in the city of Slavyansk, many families were left without a roof over their head. With the support of partners and volunteers from local churches, CBN Emmanuil set to work to restore 8 homes in Slavyansk after the city had been liberated.
Thank you for everything you have done for us financially and materially, because we simply have not been cared for like this before.
In liberated cities like Slavyansk, life has begun to improve, but in the occupied and frontline zones of eastern Ukraine, war has continued to rage. The war has brought with it destruction, death, cold, and hunger.
This is the most difficult thing to happen in Ukraine, which is the breadbasket of Europe because of the rich soil, and yet we are having to hand out bread to people.
One of the main tasks for CBN Emmanuil has been the regular distribution of bread and other essentials in the conflict zone. The frigid winter brought the need to heat homes that had been cut off from electricity, so CBN purchased stoves and firewood to help alleviate the need. Each trip into the conflict zone was a risk to the CBN Emmanuil team, but one they were willing to take to help those caught in the war zone.
Thank you for helping our small town. Nobody heard about us before, but you have responded to our misfortune.
For 5 years, CBN and Orphans Promise have been at work in the gypsy communities of Western Ukraine. This year, thanks to the Seed Project, 151 tons were harvested, 7 small farms were created, and a factory for the production of cinder blocks was launched.
I thank God that I do not go to sell my clothes anymore. Now I have my own work here at home, and I know that my children will have food because of the job I have thanks to you.
In the fall of 2014, CBN Emmanuil launched a new TV program called The Power of Prayer. The program shows viewers the importance and effectiveness of prayer and highlights Emmanuil's Prayer Counseling Center as a resource. A renewed format of the House of Living Stories was also launched in February of 2015. This program deals with relevant issues, shares the testimonies of modern-day heroes, and highlights the work being done by CBN Emmanuil throughout Ukraine. Ukraine is in a time like no other in history, and CBN Emmanuil has the privilege of being on the front lines providing relief, hope, and answers in this country's greatest hour of need.